All right, yesterday, this is the speech that the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave right in the beginning of 1992, just short time, 2 months, whatever before, he had a stroke that rendered him half paralyzed and he couldn't speak anymore. So these words are very, very sort of, important, to say the least. And as we said before 100 times, and we'll say it again a lot of times, the whole purpose of Chabad, the whole purpose of Judaism, the whole purpose of creation is to bring Mashiach. And Mashiach is going to change the whole entire world for the good. Just like Moses did to the Jewish people. He took them out of Egypt, as Mashiach will take the Egypt out of the Jews, and the Jews will encourage the whole entire world that this thing is possible for everyone. To reveal who your true self really is, and your connection to God. So that's the whole idea why God, instead of taking the Jews directly out of Egypt, it says that as it was, they made 11 journeys from when they got the Torah until they went into Israel. 11 journeys. Instead, they wandered around for 40 years. Why for 40 years in the desert? Because this was refining themselves and refining the world and making the proper choices in the face of obstacles. And that's what it means. That's this idea of the 11 journeys. In Hebrew, the word for 11 is echad asar, 110. 110. I mean, in English, it's also something like that, but not the number 11. You have 12 also, 13, 14. Right? In Russian, also, they say the number 10, and then they add the single number to it. Same thing in Hebrew. Yud, Aleph. In Hebrew, it's Echad, Asar. In other words, the Echad is the oneness of God that's revealed in the 10. To reveal the oneness of God in all the 10 aspects of creation. This can either be done from above to below. God revealed it, took the Jews out of Egypt, or it can be done from Shechibu, it can be done milamata lamayla, from below to above. If God does it, it would have been just 12 trips. If we do it, then it would be 40 years. And God wanted both of them. The 40 years, then God wants us to join these two things together. The oneness of God in the 10 Sfirot, the way it's revealed by God, and the way it's also revealed by us, being in the world, dealing with the difficulties of the world in the way that God wants to. There is similarly the War of Amalek. That's the end of this week's Torah portion. So we did this yesterday, so I'm going quickly. It says that the hand of God took an oath on his throne that there's going to be a war with Amalek, etc. It says God's name is not complete until the name of Amalek is wiped out. Amalek is a race, a nation of people that they hate Jews. We don't know who this is until Moshiach comes and says, but we had a pretty good example of it with the Nazis, with the Stalin, with the communists. The Amalek was from the seed of Esav. That's the level of Yud Aleph of the opposite side. This is the 10 days from Har Seir. That's what it says, that the 10 days journey from Har Seir. Har Seir is the mountain of Esav. And by means of wiping out Amalek, that God will do it, and also the Jews will do it. God says, Macha Emcha, I will wipe them out. And God also commands us, V'timch, that we have to do it. This is the first letters of Emet, truth. Emcha, Macha, Timcha. Emcha, God says, I will wipe out Amalek. Timcha, you should wipe out Amalek. That's Emes, truth. By means of wiping out Amalek, as will come truth. Now, Amalek is true, it's a nation, but like we said so many times before, that the purpose of Hasidut is to show that everything that's in the Torah is inside of us. Everything that's in the Torah is inside of us. So that's pretty good when there's good things like Moses and Abraham, and Isaac and Jacob. What about the bad things? That's also inside of us. There's inside of us a Paro and an Esav and a Lavan and also Amalek. Now, Amalek, in a way, is the worst of all of them, because Amalek's whole thing is self-sacrifice to destroy God, self-sacrifice to destroy Judaism. Anything possible, to the point of even giving your life just to destroy or to damage Judaism or God's presence in the world. Amalek. Says that's the idea of which is so. We have Amalek is also the gematria. He doesn't bring it down, but it's a numerical value of doubt. Right? You're not sure that God exists. I mean, it should be the most certain thing of the world is that God exists. Right? The whole world is being created by God. That's what we say. That's what we're trying to say. And the world is directed by God, and everything in the world that happens is pointing to the creator of the universe and how to serve the creator of the universe in a happier way, in a more complete way. And that's who we are. We're being created by God. Should be the most obvious thing in the world. Should be the most obvious thing in the world. But doubt covers it over. Doubt covers it over. What is doubt? Because we pay attention to things that put doubt into our mind. And sometimes just doubt itself. Like Amalek, he could see all the miracles in the world, and he would still doubt God. It's no, this is nature. It doesn't. It's one that only was something that happened one time. It's a trickery. It's sorcery. Not only the Yud K of God should be revealed, but also Vav K. Vav K, that's the God's name. Yud K and then Vav K. That is the gematria Vav, and then hey, that's the gematria of 11. This hints at drawing down this level of 11 that we said before, 1 into 10, in every detail of our service of God and all the powers of our soul. And that's wiping out Amalek, wiping out any doubt. What happens when doubt is gone? Happiness, because God is so good. And we don't have any more doubts. There is a similarly, Benogei Lahodas Yisro, when Yisro gave thanks, Obias Moshe, he came to Moses, said that Moses converted to Judaism. This is the idea that the sparks of holiness that fell below, because Yitro, it says, was the grand high priest of idolatry. He knew all of idolatry in the world. And even before he met up with Moses, he already started doubts. He had doubts in idolatry. That's a good type of a doubt. He's doubting egotism, selfishness. Sheshorsham is Yud K of Kedusha. By means of in a way, nowadays, that's the worst thing, to doubt your egotism. The whole thing is you have to be a big egotist, and you have to trust yourself and feel yourself, and I am, and I think, and this. Right, that's the whole thing. I think the Scientology is all based on that. All these being an ego and being yourself, and you're God, and you can decide, and you call the shots, and you are this. That's Amalek. The source, it comes from, that was Yitro. When Yitro heard that God split the sea for the Jews and that they defeated Amalek, so he said, I'm going to be a Jew. I have to come and see Moses. This lifted up all of the sparks to their source. And this was a Yitron. Yitro means an addition to the Jewish people. This is Yeter. Parsha, there's a whole portion of the Torah called Yitro. We're going to learn that next week. It's hinted at that this is the number of Echaras, or 1, which is added to the number 10. This is the 11th day from Chorev, which is above the 10 commandments and etc. The essence of God, which was revealed in the 10 commandments. So this comes by means of Yitro. So we're talking about here changing the entire world for good, revealing good in the whole entire world, and the truth that really there is God, and really God did give the Torah, and God did take the Jews out of Egypt, and God is right now creating us. And he's creating us that we should realize. When Yitro, who was the high priest of idolatry, when he realized this, he was the high priest of selfishness, of egotism, spiritual selfishness. When he realized this, so this is a big change in the world. This is hinting already at the Moshiach, that the whole world will realize the greatness of the Creator and the truth of the Torah. Alpiza, according to this, we can explain the details which we have in Parshas Beshalach and Yitro. This is a preparation for the completion and the purpose of the giving of the Torah, namely the Mashiach and the future redemption. It's known that Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah, this was only one time. Kavan sin, Shabo, Nitnu, that was given, Lora calling Yani Torah, not just all of the things of the Torah which will be renewed by the great rabbis in the future, but also all of the matter things of the Torah which will be revealed in the future by means by Mashiach, by means of God. Okay, what does it say? That the Torah is eternal. So there's all these rabbis through all the generations, and they make up these laws, right? Wrong. They do not make up the laws. They reveal the laws. They reveal the laws. Just like Columbus did not invent America. Columbus just discovered America, right? Edison, I mean, I don't know if this is true. I'm just saying this is what the accepted thing is. And if it was really Columbus, it was somebody else. Edison did not discover electricity, right? I mean, he did not invent, he did not invent electricity. He just discovered, if the stories that are told about Edison are true, he didn't invent anything. All these people, Einstein, the theory of relativity, if the theory of relativity is true, then he didn't invent it. He just discovered it. He just discovered this is a principle that works. The same thing, all the ideas in the Torah that the rabbis say, if they're true ideas, then they're not discovering, they're not making them up. I keep missing it. They're not making them up, they're not inventing them, they're discovering them. It says all of the ideas that the rabbis in the future are going to put out in the myriads and myriads of books, and we're talking about also Kabbalah books and Midrashic books and all that. If they're true ideas, then these are just things that they discovered. They were already revealed at Mount Sinai, but they just weren't discovered, right? Like a miracle was revealed, there it is, but it wasn't discovered. The rabbis in the future, they discovered the truth. Well, what about there's going to be new ideas that are going to be brought by Mashiach? Totally new comprehension of the commandments, of every word of the Torah, the meaning, the importance of God's will, and the uniqueness of every single commandment, the importance of the Jewish people. This is a new thing. It says, no, it's not new. That also was there in Mount Sinai. Nevertheless, it says when the Torah is given, it's going to be a new Torah for me. And by the way, if you look in the prophets, it doesn't say anywhere that the Torah is going to be new. It says Torah iti tetzeh. It's a prophecy from Isaiah. In the Midrash, it says it's going to be a new Torah. What does it mean, new Torah? It means renewed, chidush mamish. Kivan sheba matan Torah, since in matan Torah, hayu and yanim elu betachlis hahelim, they were totally concealed. Ad kedei kach, so much shitgalutam hi b'chidush mamish. It's going to be brand new. In the same sentence, it says that there's going to be the Torah miti tetzeh. It says that a new heavens and a new earth also is going to be created. New heavens. What does it mean? That there's all of a sudden the law of gravity is going to be, it's going to be, instead of things falling down, they're going to fall up. Instead of fire burning, fire is going to build. What does it mean? It means that we'll see the godliness. That's what it means. It'll be new. We'll see the fact that God is renewing the heavens and the earth every single instant. Same thing with the Torah. We'll see that every single law of the Torah is being given from a deeper source than the creation. We'll see it and we'll feel it, that every word, every letter of the Torah is brand new constantly. It'll be impossible to twist the Torah and deform the Torah like other religions. One of the explanations is when God gave the Torah, he revealed the 10 commandments. What did the Jews really hear when they gave the Torah? We have a holiday in Judaism called Shavuot, the day that God gave the Torah. What did he give when he gave the Torah? What happened? Moses went up on Mount Sinai for 40 days. At the end of 40 days, he came down and he broke the tablets. So the Jews didn't get the tablets. But if he would have come down with the tablets, that would have been 40 days after the giving of the Torah. When God gave the Jews the Torah at Mount Sinai, the Jewish people, they heard the 10 commandments. According to most opinions, they only heard the first 2 of the 10 commandments because they couldn't take it. Nevertheless, they heard 10 commandments. 10 commandments, that's the whole Torah. Just the fact that God himself, the creator of the universe, could speak and appear, it says face to face, to an entire nation, even to one person, but one person, there's no witnesses. Here we have 3 million witnesses. And they all saw the fact that God himself was speaking. That's the novelty of the 10 commandments. What also the fact that God was speaking, and also what God was speaking, was saying the 10 commandments. These 10 commandments, they correspond to the 10 utterances that God made the world with, and also to the 10 sefirot, which is God's personality and our personality. That's what it means we're made in God's image. That with 10 sefirot, Kabbalistic idea. These are 10 levels of God. That they have some connection to the world. Like this is stressed, benigla the Torah, in the revealed Torah, the laws which are relevant to how a person should conduct himself in the world. The Torah is the essence of God, and the Torah tells us these very, very physical, mundane things in the world. And if you look also in the rabbis, the revelations of the rabbis, how you should tie your shoes in the morning and how you should wash your hands. But there's levels of godliness which, of course, are above the world. This did not become revealed at Mount Sinai. This was concealed. In the future, through Moshiach, there's going to be revealed levels of the Torah and levels of godliness which were incomparable to the world, which the world could not accept at Mount Sinai. That's hinted at by the Penimiyat Torah, which we saw the secrets of the Torah, the mystical Torah. So Tami Mistar Tzefunotea, the secret reasons and concealed, how do you say, the concealed depths of the Torah, knowing God. Until we reveal the essence of God really. Like it says, Torah Chadasha, this new Torah is going to come from the essence of God. Me'iti, will see the source of the Torah. Kulam Yodi Oti, that everyone will know me. There won't be any more idolatry. People won't worship people anymore. People won't worship anything. Only the Creator. I have a couple of books over here. One big book that explains what is Buddhism and Hinduism and Taoism. These are religions from like India and China and this. And I mean, it's simply, idolatry in the most blatant form. Idolatry in the most blatant forms. And this, they're good people. These are good people. They're not doing anything wrong or bad, or they're not knocking everybody else down, right? Like they're not knocking, Judaism or knocking something else, and then everybody's they're good people. They're spiritual people that try to be spiritual. They're connected to something above them, and that's good. Well, that's nice. It says you think that's good. When real good is revealed, then they'll all drop all of the religion. They go according to these religions because there's nothing better. And these things are good. What's wrong with them? They believe in a power that's above them, some sort of a spiritual source, and they have a criteria of what is good and what is bad. And most of them are based on peace and love and acceptance. Those religions. But the fact is that what's wrong about it is it's not aware of the Creator. The Creator revealed himself on Mount Sinai. Here it says the Rebbe that when God revealed himself on Mount Sinai, that was not the essence of God. The essence of God was only hinted at a little bit. Mashiach is going to make that the essence of God will be revealed in the world, a whole new world. No more idolatry, no more believing in people, no more believing in spirits and ideas and statues or whatever it is. Only the God who took the Jews out of Egypt and gave the Torah. That's the first of the 10 commandments. That's the one true oneness of God. That's what's the one over the 10. We can say that this is also hinted at the preparation for giving of the Torah. That there has to be also a preparation, has to be something like what we were going to receive when the Jewish people traveled in the desert, and when the Jewish people fought against Amalek, and when Yitro heard about this, and that the sea split, and that Amalek had been defeated. Yitro heard, and he converted. What is the content of all these three things? Refining and elevating the sparks of holiness, that their source comes from this, what's said, Achadasar, the 10 sfirot of the world, the 10 utterances, the 10 commandments in the Torah, revealing Echad into them. Ella, but as then, this is only the beginning of this revelation of the giving of the Torah in the future. When God gave the Torah, when defeating Amalek, when Yitro came, this is only a preparation. The main completion of this revelation of the essence of God through Mashiach, that was begun when the Jews left Egypt and when they were traveling in the desert and when they defeated Amalek and when Yitro converted. That was only the beginning. What's really going to bring this future redemption is Ma'asenu v'avodatenu, our service and our work all the time of the exile. The Midbar Amim, in this huge desert, which is called exile. Nirmas, this is hinted at by the 42 journeys in the desert, that our job is to refine and to elevate all the sparks of holiness that are trapped all over the world, not just in the desert over there. That all over the world, Jewish people are found in all the continents and all the countries. Lo nigla kodesh baruch hu, that God only exiled the Jewish people among the nations in order that they should add to them what's called gerim, converts. This means the sparks of holiness that are in everything in the world. This is the idea of elevating all the sparks of holiness until all of it is completed. And Ruach Hatuma of Yermin Oretz says the spirit of selfishness and impurity will be removed from the world. This is the idea of Macha, wiping out. I will wipe out, you have to wipe out even the memory of Amalek. And from this, we can come immediately to the purpose and the completion of the giving of the Torah. In a way, the Torah Chadasha Mite Teitze. A new Torah will come from me. Just like the completion of the going into the land of Israel in the future redemption, this will be the nation of the 10 nations. Israel we will then inherit what God promised to Abraham. God promised to Abraham that we Jewish people would get the lands which were inhabited then by 10 nations. And in fact, God did not give the Jewish people with Moses the 10 generals, with Yeshua. He went into the land of Israel. Joshua. They only got 7. Kiev and Shenoseval. Since that when the Jews went into Egypt, Jews left Egypt and they went into Israel after 40 years in the desert, up to this very time now, all we have is 7. The nations the land that was inhabited by 7 of these 10 nations. That's what we call refining the seven emotional aspects of tohu. Remember, we learned this, I think, tohu. In the time of Mashiach, there will also be conquering also 3 remaining lands that had been promised to Abraham, spiritually and physically. Kini and the Kenizi and the Kadmoni. This is Ammon and Moab and Edom. This is the refining of Keter, Chachma, and Bina of Tohu, not just the emotions, 7 emotions. Ad Latidal, it says, in the future, the land of Israel is going to spread out into the whole world. The land of Israel is not like what it is now. First of all, the land of Israel is supposed to be the source and the proof of the existence and the goodness and the power and the love of God and the truth of the Torah. That's what the land of Israel is supposed to be. Not like what it is now. Totally not. Totally not. Like the Rebbe say that the Zionists, that they saved the house and they evicted the owner. Right? Not anything against them, but they made a terrible, terrible mistake. And we're still living in darkness as a result of this mistake. In the future, what's going to happen is that godliness is going to be revealed and everyone will change their minds. Only people that are like the direct enemies of the Jewish people, which I hope there won't be any, and they're going to be punished, whatever. But except for that, no punishments. We're not talking about punishments. We're not talking about the evil. We're not talking about this. How do we say in Aleinu 3 times a day? Yifnu elecha kol rishei haaretz. All the evil people in the world will turn to God. First of all, it has to start with us serving God wherever we are. And then after that, we'll all be drawn to the Holy Temple we built in Israel. And then all the Jews will suddenly catch on and Israel will become a holy land. And this holiness will spread out to the whole world. Shekal ha'olam, the whole world will be like in the level of Eretz Israel. What does it mean, the level of Eretz Israel? The whole world is created by the same God that's creating Israel. The same God that gave the Holy Temple is creating the whole world. The whole world will realize that the God of Israel is the creator. The whole world will be a dwelling for God in this physical world. But Dugmas Adira is just like a dwelling place that will be revealed the essence of the person who lives in the dwelling place. The revelation of the essence of God will be in this physical world. So this is all hinted at by what we're doing in the Torah has everything, right? The Torah is giving us a hint, and it's also a directions and a sign of how things are supposed to unfold. The Jewish people are in Egypt. That corresponds to the exile we're in. The Jewish people get out of Egypt. That corresponds to, by means of Moses, that corresponds to the Mashiach. What's going to bring this thing of the Mashiach is going to be the wandering around in the desert. The wandering around in the desert for 40 years, right? This is going to be the final accomplishment. Moses took them out, but finally it's going to be accomplished of bringing them into Israel. And what happens in the meantime between them going out of Egypt and the wandering around in the desert, which is a metaphor for this 2,000 years of exile, there's going to be the war against Amalek that we have to fight also. There has to be Yitro is eventually going to, which that's the power of doubt inside of us, is going to be gone. When that doubt is gone, then Yitro, the power of, naturalness inside of us will be transformed. People will want to connect to the Creator. Then the world is going to go according to the manufacturer's instructions. Everything will work in an orderly way. Human beings will really be human. The love of God, the love of our fellow man, the love of the world to improve the world will be revealed everywhere according to the Torah. This is what we're being hinted at, and this is what we're doing right now in this period of exile that we're in. And the Rebbe said in one second, the whole thing is supposed to change. We talked about this before. The Holy Temple can come from heaven within 24 minutes. I think it is 24 minutes. It can be ready for work, right? Open for business. When is it going to happen? I don't know. What can I tell you? I would like it that I could say to everybody, see, I told you, see. This amazing good. Okay, what am I doing here? YouTube. No. I got the wrong thing. No, I went to the wrong place. I'm sorry. 1 second. 1 minute. Ignore all that. We're putting these things up on YouTube. So on YouTube, you have to sort of, wade through all of the pictures of Olam Hazeh, of this physical world. Okay. When my father concluded, this is the previous Rebbe talking about his father, who was the Rebbe Rishab, the fifth Rebbe of Chabad. When the fifth Rebbe of Chabad, when he completed the entire Talmud for the third time, he said a Hasidic discourse about what it means to finish the whole Talmud. In the year when he passed, when the fifth Rebbe of Chabad, when he mourned for the passing away of his mother's name was Rabbinit Rivka. She was the wife of the fourth Rebbe of Chabad. My father he finished all the Mishnah at the end of 11 months and the whole Talmud at the end of 1 year. 1 year. So it's something to shoot for, but have a good day with Moshiach now. God willing, 3 o'clock, we're learning Chumash with the commentaries. Chumash with commentaries. Stop this here. Wonderful.